Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Eleanor and I am here to help you kind of navigate your way through opening up some type of establishment, some type of business, and you just need a little bit of a push, you just need a little bit of help, you need a little bit of advice, you need a little bit of motivation. So that's where I come in. So if you haven't already, subscribe and join the channel. And there's other things on the side too, which is vacationing, some Disney stuff, and personal battles, and anything kind of related to the business, even if it's not direct. So today's topic is going to be, how many employees do you need? So when you're first starting out and you're going to get your money from the bank want to see that you are running it, not by yourself. If you're by yourself, the bank won't give you money. That's it. That's the end of the story. If you're by yourself, the management won't give you money. They just don't. The real estate, management company won't back you up, because they say, what if you're sick? What's going to happen to you? You know, what's going to happen to the business? What's going to happen to the store, your service? So they don't support that. So when you're going in your business plan, and when you're dealing with the rental company, the management company, unless you own your own store, like as in own the physicality, you bought the store itself. You haven't rented the store from a company, you've bought it. That's different. But if you go to the bank, or any investment place that's government funded or whatever, you still need to show them that you're not the only one. So that's just a side note, and it's extremely important to getting off the ground. So make sure you are not the only one. But now, that's that. In reality, sometimes you're the only one. So sometimes you may, during summertime, kids are off, and you can hire cheaper help just to serve or just to clean up. If you're a small little mom and pop restaurant, you're a little Asian place, or you're I don't know, whatever place you're at, and you've got a few, 7, 8 employees or 6 employees, or it's just you and your wife and husband team, and you want to hire some help because you don't want to do the dishes. He cooks, you serve, and it's just a little place, 6 to 12 seats place, and you don't really need anybody. You just maybe get one hire help in the evenings. During the day it's fine, there's a lot of takeout, and during the evenings you may just need someone to help serve. So you may get 1 or 2 people to help you, and include that. Always include a seasonal help or even ongoing help. But in reality, during the day in the bakery, you get someone to cook the food, and then present the food and serve the food. So someone has to be behind the counter serving for when people come in. Now during the week, bakeries are not super busy. You'll get like a person come in like every 10 minutes or so, or every 30 minutes, or every 5 minutes, or it's not constant. And the weekends it's more constant. So Saturday, Sunday, Friday, even some days during the week, depending on where you're located, you'll get a lot more constant business. And so there you need help. You need help. Even if you're bushy-tailed like me, sometimes I'll do it myself, but I always feel like I need help. I feel burnt out by the end of the day. So get help. Get some help if you can. You'll navigate through what is something that you can handle and not. I've kind of narrowed it down after a decade. I've narrowed it down. So, and I've known what other people do. So if you're making this stuff yourself and from scratch, then you may need 3 people minimum. 3 people. You will. With me, not a lot of people, and when they come in, I stop what I'm doing and I go and serve them. But during the weekend, that's really hard. That's very, very hard. You have to come in way earlier to set up. It's really, really, really hard to do. It is. People feel like you've taken too long, or you're in a hurry, you're hurrying them up. So it's always best to get someone to help. Sometimes that's not available. Either the people are not available, you can't find help. It's just not available to you. And, I know a little small business just here. She's always looking for help, and it's never available. She'll get someone to volunteer to help with the admin stuff, but in the actual helping of, making the products and, she finds it hard even to get someone to deliver. So there's going to be situations, and you're going to have to create the business as though no one works there but you, because there are times where sometimes you're just the only one with another help. Now, of course, there are some establishments like restaurants and bars, and you can't do yourself. Like, you're not going to stay in business. You're not going to do yourself. You're going to hire, people. You're going to hire 5 to 10 or more people. And at one time, I think there was 6 of us, so I hired 5 people, and I sustained that for like 6 to 8 months. And then I said, okay, I gotta, basically my accountant said, you're gonna go out of business in 6 months if you continue this. And then I knew this other lady, she was trying to buy into my business or get my stuff to be sold at her place. And she was not a very honest person, but she was basically, when we talked about it, she wasn't making any money to pay herself. But that was fine. Her husband was taking care of her, and she liked the status. She liked to be that lady that owned the store. And a lot of people are like that. They like the status of it. But as in money making, she wasn't making enough. She was making enough to pay her 3 employees part-time, and that was it. She wasn't making any kind of more money to take home at all. And she was fine with that. But in reality, we start a business so we can support ourselves. So if we don't have a guy there, or if we have a guy and we want to have an income equal to being an admin lady at the medical center, or maybe being a manager somewhere. And rather than all that stress, you got personal stress here. So it should take over a job. It pays you like a job anywhere else, except you own it, you run it. It shouldn't be a whole hoo-ha thing. It can be, and we'll talk about that in another video. But basically the money thing, if you're making $500 a day or less, you should be the only one working there. You should make the food. You're a pastry chef, or you're a cook, or you're a chef of some kind, and you're making the food and it's being served to customers that come in, you box them, whatever, or it's just to go. If you're making $500 or less, you should be the only one. Honestly, you're not going to make any money if you have someone else there. Someone else is going to take your income. So if you're making $500 or less, yeah, that's my thing on an average little bakery store. If you're making $1,000 or less, you can have 1 other employee. Most people will have 2 employees. That's stupid. It's madness. Or you do it by yourself. There are times I make $2,000 a day, and I'm on my own. I go home out of my mind. My feet are hurting me, and I feel like I'm gonna pass out. But if it's product alone, that's hard. Product alone, meaning no services. That's really hard. Product alone, $1,000, 15 at most. 1 person. You should have 2 or 3 people. I kind of say it, for every $500 you make, you get a person. Until it caps at 1,000. So it's 500, get 1 person in there. 1,000, 2 people. 1,500, 2 or 3, or 1. You can do it all. You can do it all up until 1,500 or 2,000 a day. Any more than that, you're going to burn out really quick. You're not going to last more than a year. You won't want to work there. So, and you kind of think all these like Chick-fil-A's and and all these, and they make like 12 to 20,000 a day. And you're like, what? But they have 20 people working there, and they work them hard, but they're on a system. And they're not making stuff from scratch. I make stuff from scratch. I serve, So yeah, that's kind of how it goes, honestly. There's gonna be people who'll tell you any other way. Who cares? People always have something to say. That's the reality. I've done it for 10 years. That's my reality. And it's worked for me, and I'm doing just fine, loves. Sometimes it's like, help me, Jesus. The other store, it was help me, Jesus, all the time. Location, location, location. Location, location, location. Anyway, yeah. So that's how many employees you should have. Where should you put them? What employees should you have? Well, it depends on your business. If you need someone making the stuff, someone qualified and making the stuff in the back, so that's one. Someone's got to make the stuff. You need someone to serve it. The maker could be the server, which is my case a lot of the time. And that's fine. If it gets really busy, or you're doing, like if you're coming really early in the morning, you're not going to stay up till 8 o'clock. If you're coming at 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes I have. When I do classes, I'll do a 10 a.m. class, and I'll come in at 8 and set up, teach the class, bake, But when you're a small business, it's not like you're crazy. If you're crazy busy, then you're becoming, you have to systemize your stuff, and you will need more employees. That's it. It's just get more employees. So you need someone to make the stuff or help you make. So if you have more, like if you're making about $2,000 a day or more, then you'll need someone to prep your stuff. Honestly, you need someone to prep the stuff. So someone has to make the doughs and the fillings. You have to have a book with all the doughs, all the fillings, all the whatever, the caramel, the meringues, everything has to be made. And then the person who bakes, who oversees everything, they put it together. They're the pastry chef. They put everything together. They're in charge of the kitchen. And what gets done, what needs, what's on a list to get more. You can just see on a small business, but if you have more employees, you need to systemize everything. Just do. Otherwise, you won't last. Yeah. At this location in Virginia Beach, this has made me way more money than in DC, and I've not had more than one employee or two employees. Meaning, I've had one employee where they help me, and then there's been me and another person, usually my partner. So, handsome Ryan. Oh, he's so handsome. Yeah. So that's how many employees you need. And then, of course, if you want to allocate someone just for cleaning. If you're a restaurant dealing with a lot of like smelly, stinky, like you can't pre-prepare. Like with a bakery, you have to make the dough. You can't just make the dough and use it. You have to make the dough, and then it has to sit, ferment, and then you use it. So everything has to be done way early. In a restaurant, just say like a restaurant, like a little Asian place, or it has to be made as you go. So you can prep stuff. Someone preps, and then someone cooks, someone serves, someone delivers, and someone cleans. But you should be making at least minimum 2 to $3,000 a day for that. If you're not making that, then you should not have those employees because you're going to go out of business. So that is the secret. My sister, bless her heart, she said, she's in Australia. She said, you don't want to give everything away. I said, but that's beside the point. That's why I'm making the channel. I do want to give everything away. You're going to make your decisions based on whatever you do in your business. I'm not. You can't come to me and say, well, she told me. No, do your own thing. I'm just here to help you. I'm here to advise you. I'm here to kind of, when you're in a pickle. But yeah, that's the truth. That's what it is. That's been my truth for 10 years, over 10 years, almost 11 years. Wow. Yeah. And employees are a whole different ballgame. You know, with employees, you cannot get personal with them. And it's really hard because you're a small business and they're like your friends because they're the only people you see most of your life, people that work there. But they're not your friends. They are employees. They want direction. They want to be left alone. They don't want to be harassed or abused. They don't want too much demand. They want to do a fair job for a fair pay. But you'll get people who are entitled employees, which I've had. I've had this cute little young girl one time, beautiful as a button. And she would just help herself to like hot chocolate and coffee. It's like $4, $5. Like, you can't just, excuse me? So you're good to them. You want to be good. You want to say, hey, you know, you can have one drink a day. You can have something to eat a day. I always give free. I'm often baffled by these companies baffled by these companies that are big companies. They're killing it. And they don't feed their employees. They'll give them like 20% off. What? I'm like on the bottom barrel of income. And your place is expensive. 20% off is still expensive. Like, that's crazy. That is not good management. I'm sorry. Feed your people. If you've allowed someone to come in and represent you, honor you, loyal to you, work for you, work for the company, feed them. At least not make them grumpy. Feed them. Feed them. Some of them have families to go to. They're young enough. They have mom and dads that feed them at home. Feed them. I remember when I was young, and I would work in sandwich shops a lot when I was young. Either hotels or sandwich places were my kind of work environments when I was just, a tacker going through school. And this one place, I always negotiated being fed. You want to hire me for $10, $11 an hour back then? Okay. $8, $9, whatever it was back then, many years ago. You need to feed me. I get one sandwich, I get one drink, and I get a little side dessert, a cookie or something. I want to be fed. I'll make it myself. Sandwiches this big. Because I went home and I was poor. I didn't have food at home. I was poor. I had a cereal in Australia. It's like, cereal is like, no jokes, like $10, $15, $20 for cereal. I mean, who can afford cereal? I don't know how Australians do it. It's expensive. Cereals here are like $5, $6, $7, $8. I mean, golly gosh, eh? It's expensive. Let alone a sandwich. I do go to what's that sandwich place called? I don't know. They always have like $6, $8 sandwich and drink. I never need a drink. I'm not like a fizzy drink person. But I just pay it. Just, feels cool at the moment. And you get a little chippies. I like the chippies. But I just like sandwiches. I'm Australian and I love my sandwiches. I've never gone there my whole life. I just craved a sandwich and I started going there. I've gone there a couple of times, 2 times. But anyway, I like sandwich. But usually I make it, it's just I was moving. When I first started this channel, just a week ago, I was literally just moved. So no makeup, I look horrible, haggity and horrible. And I was tired, I was living on 3 hours sleep, moving, unpacking, packing, moving, unpacking. Terrible. Yeah. And then I didn't have any more help here because Ryan was, doing the Manly set up stuff or the Manly pack up stuff. So, I come here and I was all by myself. So I was just, you could tell through the videos. Oh my God. Get some sleep, lady. Find some makeup, lady. Anyway, I tried a little bit today. At least Ryan said, you look nice. That's all you want. Just a little acknowledgement from the people you love. Or strangers. I'll take everything. Yeah, really important. Feed your people. Feed your people. They're your people. Feed them. If they want like fancy stuff, they want macarons, maybe you can do like 40% off, half off. But make it obtainable. They're your people's. Unless it's just how many employees there you got? So yeah, feed your people. But also there's a negative with employees. Some of them lie. A lot of them lie. When you're dealing with young people, just young people lie in general. They're not reliable as much. Or they'll, some people steal. Some people steal from you. In ways that they don't believe they're stealing, like the hot chocolate situation, all the time, every day. Some people steal from you, but I had this one guy work for me, and he was negotiating prices with people. I'd have these tarts that were at the time like $40 or $30, and he'd be like, "You can take it for $20." What? So you gotta be on top of it. Don't trust people. It's your business. It's your money. Don't trust it. Pretend all your pastries are money sitting there. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about all the money sitting there? It's your money. It's even your cash register. You gotta, put things in place. Have cameras. Have things in place. Cash up at the end. Count everything. Sometimes it's hard when you're a little bakery. You don't count every friggin' cookie. You don't do that. Some people do. You don't do that. So you have to have things in place. So when you're a little bit more lenient and nice to people, people are nice to you. One of the things too, don't gossip with people. They're not your friends. They're not your therapist. Don't gossip with employees. And always employees will leave. So they'll take their opinion about you with them every time. I've had employees that work for me for years, and they'll come back and they still have sweetness in their heart for me. They'll look me up. I found you. Hi. I'm so happy for you. You're still going. So be nice to people. There's been a couple of employees that have not liked me. I had to let one guy go. He was a family man. But that was hard. Letting people who are responsible for other people go is hard. I couldn't afford him. And he wasn't listening. He wasn't listening. He was just doing whatever he wanted. And it was costing me a lot. And I just had to let him go. That was when the accountant said, you got to let people go or you're going to go out of business. So, put things in place to obtain good people. And sometimes, when you're paying minimal, you're not going to get good people. You're not going to get a high caliber of standards and blah, blah, blah. People are not going to be trained. People are not going to blah, blah, blah. And be very careful who you allow around your recipes. Because your recipes, your money. So be very careful who you allow to have access to your recipes. Your recipe should be locked up, honest to God. One time I worked for this, just quickly before I leave, for this Italian patisserie or Italian bakery in Australia, in Melbourne. And I said, hey, I'm having a party and I really want a good cake recipe. And I took a photo of carrot cake. And he almost about fired me. He told me off. Why are you taking a picture of my carrot cake recipe? Well, it was really good. I'm gonna make it for my, I'm having people over at my house. I'd like to make it. No, that's stealing. I was like, oh. And at the time I thought it was really harsh. Like, it's really good. Why can't you just share it with me? I work here. Like, if you're gonna be nice to anybody, be nice to me. But he was right. That was his intellectual property. And I was taking it like it meant nothing. I didn't even ask for it. Now, I didn't know. I was young and dumb, but protect your stuff. Because people will take it and use it somewhere else. Even go as far as writing, I will not use this recipe, especially if you have, like, my macarons are high quality, really good. I'll write people to say, I will not use this recipe in the next 5 years. This belongs to macaron tart. And that's it. I will not use if I do, I am liable to be sued. And all damages will be paid, including court costs. Does that sound harsh? Yes. I mean, most of these people are young people, kids. What? I don't think I want to work here. But hey, put people's intentions and situations in check. Protect yourself. Remember, you work for the business. Everybody works for the business. The smooth running of the business, the protection of the business falls on you. Okay, I hope this helps.